What are you talking about? You want a woman to be reaching out to you 100% of the time. So anytime you interact, whether it's a phone call, a text message, or whatever, the woman is supposed to be calling you. You should never send a message. That is the opposite of what I've heard from anybody who's been married for years. Like, girlfriend broke up with you? You need to listen to this guy. Get the power back in your relationship. Okay. I mean, he's got 185,000 subscribers, so he must be saying something good. Let's hear what he has to say.
So I just got an email from a guy whose girlfriend wants to break up with him. She says she wants to break up and he doesn't know how to deal with it the right way. So we had a few email exchanges and I asked him, how are you showing up in the relationship? What's the relationship like? How's the communication? How do you interact with her? And he said it's pretty much 50-50 communication. I message her, she messages me, I reach out to her 50% of the time, she reaches out to me 50% of the time. It's still too much, right? 50-50 is still too much.
What do you mean? Why is it too much? Why is 50-50 too much? I thought that's the whole point of being in a relationship is you want to like communicate like back and forth. You don't want it to be like one-sided.
60-40 is still too much. 80-20 is about the lowest threshold you can do. Ideally, you want a woman to be reaching out to you 100% of the time.
Right? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You want a woman to be reaching out to you 100% of the time. So anytime you interact, whether it's a phone call, a text message, or whatever, the woman is supposed to be calling you. You should never send a message, even if you want to ask her out, like, I don't know, do you want to go out for dinner? You can't, like, let her ask you and let her come and be like, hey, I'm feeling kind of hungry tonight. Oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, we could go out for dinner. Then I'll take you out for dinner. What do you mean? You can't have 100%.
Right? She should be reaching out to you all the time. And then the dynamic will feel natural. She will be chasing you, and that's how it should be.
So you want a woman chasing you. That's what you want. Is this like, what is this? Is this actually to be in a relationship, or is this just to have like a fan club? Because I feel like this is like having a fan club, like you're a famous actor or something, and then just, you know, there's a lineup of women like trying to chase you. I mean, if you're going into a relationship, someone you're potentially might even have kids with, like, what are you talking about? You're going to start your relationship with her just chasing you?
That's how a successful relationship works. A lot of guys...
That's how a successful relationship works. That is the opposite of what I've heard from anybody who's been married for years. Like, and if you talk to any married person who's been married for like 20, 30, 40 years, like these older generations, they will not be like, well, I always chase my husband. I'm always like, hey, can you do this? Actually, that sounds more like nagging the more I say that. It sounds like you're nagging, which men hate. So what are you talking about? Nobody... Okay, this might work in the very beginning if you want somebody to be interested in you, but this was not going to work as you get farther into a relationship and you're serious. Once you're past, like, I don't know, a month, you probably shouldn't be doing this.
Are not willing to make the transition. They're not willing to let a woman reach out to them because they feel like they're not being nice enough, they're not being supportive enough, they're not giving a woman enough attention.
Yeah, you're giving her no attention, and she's literally gonna be there like, why am I even in this relationship? You never asked me anything. It's just gonna be a whole shit thing. And so basically what you're gonna rely on, and instead of being like a normal human being, you're gonna rely on either like your money or some other factor, maybe you're like super hot, to be the reason why she's like, well, I can't stop messaging him. I have to keep trying. Maybe he'll like me. It seems very manipulative, frankly.
As a man, you must focus on your mission and purpose and let the woman take care of the relationship. I also asked this guy, what's it like in terms of communication when you're face to face? And he said, oh, it's great. We get along great, which is usually true. People get along much better face to face than they do when they have distance and there's texting and
Yeah, it's because you can see their facial expressions. You can have a good conversation, right? You can see the nuances. You can touch. You can smell, all the senses. I don't know why I pick smell, but you know what I'm saying. You can see.
messaging involved. But he did say that he feels like he's the one who's always reaching out to hug her, to hold her hand, to touch her. Back off.
Okay, that's probably that. If he is always the one initiating touch, just like if she was always the one initiating the communication or whatever, then yeah, it's probably not a good thing. You want to have even. So why on God's green earth would you be telling people, like, make sure she's doing 100% of the communication? Oh, but when it comes to the touching thing, you're doing too much. So now I guess it's going to be the same thing. Make sure she's reaching out for the touching, or actually, she doesn't even do it. So
Let a woman come to you. Let her reach out to you. Let her touch you. Let her hug you. Right? That's very important. It's a subtle distinction, but it makes all the difference.
But you know what really matters in all of this? Woo, is that the way when she reaches out to you, how do you receive that touch? If she reaches out to you and you pull your hand away or you shut her when she hugs you, she's not going to want to do it again. But if she hugs you or if she touches your hand or whatever, and you have a nice response like, oh, that feels so nice, or something positive like, oh, babe, I love when you give me a hug or something, or a kiss, she's going to want to do it more. Because she's gonna get it in a positive. She's gonna get a positive reaction to it. So what the hell did the guy do previously that she's not reaching out? Maybe she's an exception and she just doesn't want to touch because she's not a touchy person. Then if you are, then maybe you should find somebody else.
And it changes everything. It changes the whole dynamic of the relationship. Ultimately, when a woman...
The dynamic of the relationship. So if he reaches out, it changes. He loses the power, ladies and gentlemen. He loses the power. So the woman needs to reach out so he retains that masculinity power, because, I mean, we can't just be normal people beyond our genders. I mean, what the frig?
Woman says she wants to break up. It's a reflection on how you've been showing up in the relationship. She sees you as low value because women don't break up with high value men. She sees you as needy. She sees you as relationship focused.
Okay, this part I kind of agree with, about women don't like to break up with high valued men, because this happened to me. I mean, literally, she said she wanted to break up many times, but never did, because I had a good career. So she was like, well, I'll just stay in it. And she literally told me that when I broke it up with her, she said, oh, I was going to leave like a couple years ago, but I just stayed because you had a good career and we had money. So the shit is real.
It's an insult, and it means that you're not on the right path. It means that you're not focused on your mission and your purpose. Women love ambitious men. They've done studies into this. As I mentioned in my book, Atomic Attraction, women desire ambitious men, and successful men are attractive, and you don't need to be successful.
He has a book. I don't know. Based on what he said in the first half of this, I'm not interested. Although the second half, he's doing a little better.
You don't need to be rich, but you have to have the potential to be successful. That's more important than being successful. It's the potential to be successful, which means you're ambitious, you've got drive, you've got purpose, you've got motivation, you're going somewhere in life.
That's true. Women do find it attractive if you're like really interested and motivated to do something. But you can kind of say that for anything. Like if anybody is interested in something, they're very passionate, it's attractive. So yeah, I think if this goes both ways. But I think for a man, yes, it is good to be ambitious, and it is good to be striving for higher things, because women definitely will like that. So I do agree with you on that.
If you're focused on a woman, she's going to get turned off, and she's naturally eventually going to want to break up with you.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't disagree with the last part about the motivation. Definitely it's not fun to be with somebody who's not motivated. Like, no one wants that. But on the other side, I calling BS on everything about 100% having her reach out with any communication, which is just ridiculous. Like, how do you even have a relationship that way? Like, okay, I don't, just whatever. And then the touch thing is also stupid. Like, if you're somebody who likes to touch and you like to be touched, to be touched and to touch, then you should do that. Why would you not do that? Why would you sit there and suffer and just be like, well, uh, she did. I gotta wait for her to touch me. I can't show my affection when I feel like I want to show affection. You're just being like a fake version of yourself. This does not work for everybody. Everybody is different. Maybe for some people they're not that way, so then fine. But like, okay, maybe that works for him. I don't know. It sounds like BS.